validating that your experience, for example, with your IBS that you mentioned earlier, and the frustration perhaps that you experience around feeling like there's nothing you can do. If I were to say to you, it makes sense, Robbie, that you would experience a lot of stress around that, or a lot of anger or fear or anxiety, whatever the emotions are that you feel, because when someone tells you there's nothing you can do, it makes sense that you would respond that way. And just somebody saying that your experience is valid for you. Now, whether I agree with what was told to you, whether I agree with the way you responded, makes no difference. But recognizing
Sympathize
very
with that book.
I think empathy is feeling with someone. And then I think of compassion as, I'm going to feel this with you, but how do we take the next step forward? And if we can lean in with more compassion and actionable ways to move forward with that layer of empathy right behind it, I think people could do, just even in general life, could do so much more. And I will tell you, it's not an overnight thing. And that's why I don't know exactly how long it'll be anywhere from 6 months to a year for sure. But I know that people do experience the biggest shifts at the beginning, because that's when we're dealing the most with that very, very dysregulated emotional system. As we move further in is where, when they're not having those strong emotional reactions and we're not using these skills and strategies and sound therapy for handling those emotional reactions, and we're doing them for things that are a little further down neurologically, in terms of creating that really lasting impact, so that the brain isn't flagging it as important and we're keeping it at that sub level in the brain. Those things take a lot of reassurance, you got to keep going. I know it feels like nothing is happening, but you got to keep moving forward. And one analogy that a very dear friend shared with me in terms of creating that neurological response, in terms of persisting and feeling like, okay, nothing is happening here anymore. Why do I have to keep going? She described it as painting lines on a road. So if you have a bucket and the bucket is cemented to the road, your job is to paint the lines. And so at the beginning, it's really easy to see how far you went, because the bucket is reasonably close and you feel like you're always making progress. As the line gets longer, the trips back to the bucket take a lot longer. And even though you're making progress, it's not as visible as it was at the beginning. And so as the brain is rewiring itself, that's a lot of what's happening.